Hello, this is Jason P. Wilson Zero in X-Force, and I am back from vacation. I went to the islands of Hawaii, mostly concentrating on Kauai, which is the Garden Island. Absolutely had a great vacation, loved every moment of it, got my batteries recharged, and now I'm back. And I have 3 weeks worth of comic books. I had a pile that I picked up right before I left, read them, was not able to post them. Came back, picked up 2 weeks worth, and I read through all of them, and I'm now ready to post reviews. And of course, this is the Marvel and Independent package here, 3 weeks worth of comics from them, and then I'll be posting DC's shortly after. Now, these are for the weeks of October 19th, October 26th, and November 2nd, which was yesterday. Today is the 3rd of November. And first up here, we'll do Spider-Man's. Now, this, of course, came out yesterday. This is the epilogue. And this one here is the finale of Spider Island. I thought these 2 comics were really well done. I liked how they ended Spider Island's a great event. It started out really strong. I absolutely love the artwork here. I think this artist is one of my favorite Spider-Man artists, period. And after reading Spider Island, he's really gone up there to one of my favorite artists, period, in any comic. I'm really going to keep my eye out for more comics that he's on. I just love his style. It has a cartoony, comic book, realistic kind of combination style. Can't really explain it. I just really like it. Also, I think Slott wrote a great Spider-Man story here. I loved it from the beginning to end, from, you know, the prequel to the epilogue. Great stuff. I really like what they did with Mary Jane, and I have to say, I really want Peter Parker to leave his current girlfriend, which, I mean, she's alright, but when you read stories like this, you really want Peter and Mary Jane to be together, because they are supposed to be. Great issues. I love these 2. I love them wrapping them up. I am definitely going to be picking this up and giving it to friends and family when it comes out on trade. Amazing Spider-Man, Spider Island, a home run, a great success in my book. Okay, and next up are 2 comics, each being the new relaunching. This, of course, is Uncanny X-Men #1, the brand new ongoing Uncanny X-Men, relaunching from it ending just recently. I don't have that issue with me, the last Uncanny X-Men. I wasn't picking those up, but I did read that. You know, it was very interesting. I didn't think it was a must-read. It was a kind of cool scene where Bobby threw a snowball and it hit Cyclops. I thought that was pretty cool. But it was really kind of a, you know, we all knew what was going on anyway, so I didn't think it was a necessary read. I'm sure a lot of people picked it up for their collection, but I wasn't collecting Uncanny X-Men at this point. I did before, but not during those runs. So I just went ahead and jumped on now. I'm really tempted to pick up a lot of these X books. I threw a couple in my saver that I did not pick up when I picked up yesterday. I had a lot going on, so I just threw some in there I thought I might read and pick up next time. Other ones I'm interested in is Regenesis, besides, of course, the 2 that I have in my saver, Uncanny X-Men and Wolverine and the X-Men. Other ones were New Mutants. I love New Mutants. Always love New Mutants. I thought it might be a good time to jump in. I liked the cartoony looking art that the new artist has. I haven't seen New Mutants like that in a long time, so I thought about that, threw that in. Now, those are not renumbered or anything, but they're marked with the whole new, you know, Regenesis and the new design of the comics. The other one was X-Men. I hear that X-Men goes really good with Uncanny X-Men because it's basically like a branch of the Uncanny X-Men. And that one's with Storm, and I hear it's a really good time to jump on for that one. So I'm thinking about that. I threw that in there as well. But for now, I'm getting Uncanny X-Men and Wolverine and X-Men. And, you know, I was really questioning if I should pick up Uncanny X-Men, but I went ahead and did. Threw it in my saver to give it a chance. And I liked this first issue. The previews I saw online that I read, I wasn't impressed with. But, you know, the art style is okay. The story is interesting enough. I'm not sure if this is a comic I want to pick up on singles yet, but I'm going to stick with it for now. And I did like it. I thought it was a really cool new beginning to a team that isn't really favored to me right now. I like the X-Men that are on the team, but after reading Schism, I am so on Wolverine's side that I really, when I'm reading stuff going on with Scott, I have a little bit of bias against him. But I used to really like this team, so I thought I would give it a chance and see if it'll be maybe a team I root against, or perhaps they'll write Scott Summers in a way that I'll care for him again. Of course, I'll always love Emma Stone and Colossus and all of them. This is obviously the big team. This is the power team, but I would like to see how that's going to shift in the future. So that might be another reason for me to keep on this. But it was really good. I thought it was a strong first issue. And next up is my favorite of the two, and that is Wolverine and the X-Men #1. I absolutely love the art here. Loved the art. I thought the writing was pretty good. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a lot funnier than I thought it would be. So that was a nice surprise. There's some stuff going on here where they're just establishing the school, so they have to get it checked out and stuff. And there's some pretty funny things going on. I really like the character design from this artist. I think it's fresh. I really like this artist a lot. I know there's a lot of people that are big fans, but I haven't experienced too much. But I can see why people love this artist. I'm really liking the style. I like the feel of the book. It does feel fresh. I haven't read X books like this in a long time, and I really like this. This is definitely my favorite of the two, though I kind of like getting them at the same time, because you're basically seeing the side of red and blue almost. You're seeing both sides of what happened with Schism, and they're not really connected yet. I don't think they will be. I think they're really going to keep these separate. I'm really glad that some key people went with Wolverine, like Beast and Kitty Pryde, and Bobby, of course, Iceman. But I'm also liking the young X-Men. I know some of them from reading Generation Hope. Others I'm not so familiar with, but I'm looking forward to getting to know them as well. I'm curious how they're going to have this. Is this going to be like the old X-Men books with Xavier and him teaching in school? I think it might be like that. Maybe a little fresh take on it. And if that's the case, I'm really excited about it. Obviously, they'll go on missions and stuff, but they're going to have to be careful, because the whole reason they separated from the other X-Men is because they didn't want to put these young X-Men in danger or going to war. So that'll be curious how they handle that. A fantastic beginning to what looks like it's going to be a classic run. Wolverine and the X-Men, definitely a recommendation. And honestly, if you're a Wolverine fan, you have to pick it up. Okay, next up here is X-23. Love this cover. Great cover. By the way, I like the new style of those new X books. I like the whole look of the covers and stuff. I think it's great. This is a great cover of X-23. She is, in her comic, keeping kind of separate. There's a little bit of a mention of what's going on, but it hasn't really touched her yet in her ongoings. I'm sure that will happen in the near future. But X-23 is a really solid comic for anyone wanting to read an X book that isn't going to get caught up in all the events. Not at this point anyway. They've been really good keeping her separate as a individually focused comic, not getting into the whole event stuff. Then this is a great comic to pick up. She's a really good character. I think they've handled her great from the very beginning. And every time I consider dropping the book, issues come out like this, which are just really interesting, really fun, and so different from anything else any other X book can put out. it's really a no-brainer to continue for me. This is a very interesting story of what's been going on. I like how it's evolved, and I like the direction it's going now. Fantastic cover, a really good comic, and anyone mildly interested in this is a good time to start. Next up is a comic that I am super, super excited about. I, being a huge Hulk fan, Incredible Hulk ended, I was sad, boo-hoo. But, man, that didn't take long, did it? I mean, I was really thinking after they ended Hulk and, you know, the legacy writer and team that was on Hulk book retired from Hulk. I thought, okay, they're going to retire him for, I don't know, a year, kind of like what they did with Jean Grey. We all know she's coming back. And then, it really wasn't that long. So, I was excited, but at the same time I was like, man, I have to make room. I have to make room. Because there's no way I'm not getting the Incredible Hulk #1. It's just not going to happen. So, picked it up, and I really liked it. This is a really good Hulk book. I have to say, I'm a big Hulk fan, so I try to hold back from praising the Hulk all the time. But I love Hulk, and I love Hulk written well. And I was curious how they ended the whole series. You know, it ended in a way you thought it just wasn't going to be around for a long time. So when they restart the Incredible Hulk, they took everything that happened and they really started in a fresh point. If you are ever mildly interested in the Hulk, or if you just want to read a good comic book, I recommend you go ahead and pick up Incredible Hulk #1. Anyone who enjoys comics is going to enjoy this comic. It is, for me, what I like about a good, solid story writing, really good art. And what I like about Hulk books is not only the action, I like the whole psychology of when they write the persona of Hulk and Bruce Banner, and now they're separated. They've been separated before, but it's been a while. So they're separated, and you really get to see what's going on with both of them. I really like what they're doing. I've always been a fan of H.G. Wells, so they have a very H.G. Wells twist kind of going on here. And I'm really excited about this book. You guys, I'm serious. Pick up the book, give it a chance, read the first story arc. You will not regret it. A great comic. And, you know, I don't know if they did this on purpose or not, but Marvel is relaunching a lot of their stuff, you know, soon after the whole relaunch of DC. So obviously, if you've been checking, DC's been kicking Marvel's butt with all the sales. They've been dominating sales charts. Just before it was all Marvel, 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 DC, DC. Now it's all DC, 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 Marvel, Marvel. So I'm thinking they knew that and they expected that, so they're trying to get back on top. Because if they're going to be behind DC, they only want to be behind for like 4 or 5 months or so. So they're trying their best to crawl their way up. But, you know, if it's a trick, shame on them. But I'm really glad they're doing some of this stuff because I'm liking that the quality is really high. It seems like it's well planned and well executed. So, a very good comic and definitely recommended. Next up here is Ultimates #3. This is a comic I really like, but after the story arc, I am going to be ending Ultimates. The only Ultimates comics I'm going to be keeping is going to be Ultimate Spider-Man. But it's not anything negative about this because the artwork is fantastic. The thing for me is I like it so much, I know I'm going to buy it on trade. So since I'm trying to cut my comics back on the singles, that way I can get more trades. I mean, I figure if I know I'm going to get the trades of the Ultimates. It's a great action comic. I really like the dynamics of the heroes. I like how it's written. I really like what they're doing with the story. This particular story arc is one of the best story arcs I have ever read from Ultimate Comics, and I say it rivals anything that they've done with Ultimate Spider-Man in the past or present. So that's high praise. But at the same time, this isn't a comic I need in singles, but I do need to read it. It is a must-read. So definitely pick up the trade, guys. I'm sticking with the first story arc, but I will be continuing on Ultimates just in trade after that. Great comic. Now, guys, I know I say great comic a lot, but I'm really, really picky about what I buy. So I think that's part of the thing. I look ahead, I see what I know I like, and I pick up what I like. At the same time, I try to avoid what I don't like, so I'm not really picking up stuff that I don't think I'll like. So for the most part, I know what I enjoy, so I'm usually picking up stuff that I will be enjoying reading. But if you guys think that you want me to be more hard or on the reviews, just let me know. I'm just telling you how I feel about them. So next up here is FF. Hickman doing great. I have to say though, at this issue, it's very well written. It's beautifully drawn. I'm loving the characters. I've been here since the beginning, so I'm definitely all caught up, understand what's going on. Anyone who's has not read like the last couple, comics, you're not gonna know what's going on at all. That's pretty obvious here. It is a bit, drawn out a couple times the way they write it. It's very interesting. It's written with a lot of depth. Hickman is really loving these characters, and you get really deep writing about this team. Future Foundation is a well-written comic, but at this point, I'm just feeling, man, I think I might. Well, I already knew I was going to try and drop it, but after reading this, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm done with this. Now, this kind of is the end of the story arc, but then it kind of isn't, which I hate. Hate when they do that. It's sort of over, but not really. So I have to decide now, am I ending on 11, or am I going to get maybe 12 and 13? Not sure on that. I do know, it looks like, they're going to be having 2 comics now, because they're relaunching, I think, Fantastic Four, and it's issue number 600, I believe. So I guess they're just continuing where it left off, but it looks like they're keeping FF. I'm not sure how that's working. I think I might go ahead and pick up the next issue and then the 600 issue of Fantastic Four, and then kind of end my collection there. That might be a nice way to end it. But FF is a very solid comic, solid writing. I would just think that most people would enjoy it in trade the best. Like if you just picked up all the FF trades, you would get the full story, and you wouldn't have to maybe go back and read a couple issues. Because I read a lot of comics, I read this and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember that. Oh, and then I went back and I reread a couple things. Oh, yeah, that's right. So I don't necessarily like to do that. It'd be nice if I was reading a trade and just read the whole thing through. But it's a very good comic. Definitely a pick up on trade. FF is always great. Hickman is a great writer. Okay, next up here is a comic that I keep on picking up. It's not my saver anymore, but just like the other Captain America, it's really well done. They're 2 great Captain America comics. Now, both Captain America and Captain America and Bucky are so good. They are the best written Captain America stories that have been read or written or illustrated in a very long time. Captain America had a really good strike going on there for a while. Obviously with this writer here, and then it was good after that. It was just kind of in the medium area, but when they relaunched Captain America and Bucky, it just got great again. And that goes the same with the new ongoing Captain America. That is a great Captain America story with great illustrations. Captain America and Bucky is the same thing. It's a different style, but it's just as good in every way. In fact, this is my favorite coloring of both the books. Probably the artist, probably the other Captain America, but in inks, it's this one. The colors are beautiful, and every time I pick this up and I open it up, it is such a pleasure to like look upon it. Like basically it shines all these fantastic color palettes that I do not see in comics. And the story is just really well written. A great comic. I'm fighting to keep away from adding this back on my saver, but I pick it up every month anyway. But it's a great comic. It's definitely one that should be picked up on trade. This is the first story arc, so they'll probably come out with the trade pretty quick. Alright, next up here for my Marvels are my limited runs. This is the end of Spider Island Spider-Girl. It was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't the best. It was what I expected. I don't really expect these limited series when they're only 1, 2, 3s with events to be great. I mean, the X-Force one with Fear Itself was just interesting. It was good enough to read. Same here with Spider-Girl. I just really wanted to read Spider-Girl. I like this character, and I didn't get her ongoing, so I just want to get a little taste of Spider-Girl. And I was really enjoying Spider Island, so that was another excuse to pick this up. Again, it was nice, it was fun, it was quick, and that's all I can say about it. If you didn't read it, you didn't miss anything. If you did read it, you enjoyed the quick little ride. Next up here is one of my favorite ongoings, definitely that Marvel puts out, and that is Red Skull. This is a fantastic limited run. It's just 4 or 5. It's almost over, and I'm sad. I'm definitely picking this on trade. There's another comic I've been trying to pick up for a while on trade that I loved, and that was Old Man Logan. I just love that story. I loved it. I read it in singles. And I just, it's expensive to pick up, but I know I'm going to pick it up eventually. This one I'm going to pick up immediately because I just loved it. It's part 4. There's only 1 issue to go. There's no way they're not going to do great on the last issue because it's been so good from the very beginning. Now, it is a certain flavor of comics, kind of a historical but not historical comic. It really makes you... Like, if you didn't know anything about history, you might think more things are real. This is a superhero book or a supervillain book, but it's never been quite done like this. And Red Skull Incarnate is just such a unique flavor. The story, the artwork, really well done, very uniquely done. It's just as unique as these covers. These covers are some of the best covers that have ever come out in a limited run by Marvel. It's like propaganda covers. In fact, there's little details that you might not be able to see of like the paper, little stains in the paper and stuff. I actually thought maybe the cover was stained. And I was like, oh no, look, it's just really well, loved detail in here. A great comic and a must read for any comic fan that just wants to read a really well done story. And you will not think, you wouldn't think that you would identify at all with Red Skull, and you kind of don't. At the same time, you really kind of get to know his character in an intimate level that you never imagined yourself doing. And for that alone, it's worth picking up. You will definitely never look at Red Skull the same way again, one way or another. Next up is one that I picked up. This is not my ongoing. I just picked it up to taste it because I heard good things about it. I don't know if I'm going to be picking up the rest of the issues, but I have to say I did like it. When I picked it up and read it before my vacation, and, it was before Halloween, so I kind of was into the mood of the whole monster stuff. I always get in that mood in October. I read it, and I was surprised. It was well written. The artwork is like it is here on the cover. It's kind of different. It's cartoony, but has a mature twist to it. Definitely bloody. I really liked it. I thought it was really fun. I just don't know if I'll pick up the singles. I might resist and just wait through the trade, but I won't be picking up both. If I pick up singles, I will not pick up trade. But if I don't pick up singles, I will definitely keep my eye out for the trade. Very interesting. I think that if you're interested in this kind of League of Monsters type stuff, you definitely should give it a try. And next up here is the end to another ongoing. I pretty much said what I think about it before, but I'll say it again. It's a really good Halo comic. It's probably, besides Helljumpers, the best written and illustrated Halo story to come out. Halo Fall of Reach, The Covenant. This is 404. It's definitely, like I said, the only two stories of Halo that I think are must-reads are Helljumper and this one. Really well done. It's a great science fiction tale, so if you're just interested in science fiction, especially like a military science fiction type book, it's definitely one you want to pick up on trade. At this point, you might have trouble finding the first few issues, but it's a great science fiction comic. Definitely recommend it. Okay, here's one that came out a while ago, but I'm just now posting it, and that is Ultimate X-Men 2. I do like it. I do not have it on my ongoing. I just wanted to see where it was headed because it was there, and I just picked it up, and I really like it. I think this is a really solid Ultimate Comics, and anyone who's interested in this, Spencer is a great writer, and it's really excited to see what he's going to do with the X-Men in the Ultimate Universe. But for me, it's probably going to be a trade pickup. Really well written. The artwork is good too. It's a certain flavor. Okay, next up here is One. Now, this is, I'm not sure how much longer this is going to be going on. It's a very small independent company, GG Studios. This comes out every so often. It's not really quick or anything, but whenever it comes out, it is fun to read. It's full fantasy. Its style is very different. It definitely has an independent feel. Its art style is kind of graffiti-ish, but it's really a flavor that you're not going to get anywhere else. You really wouldn't see this type of comic in the big, comic studios. It's only a kind of story that I think can be told properly by a small company that just puts a lot of love into it. But it's a really good fantasy book. This is number 6. I'm not exactly sure if after the story arc it will be continuing or ending. I'm not sure. But I'm definitely glad I'm picking them up. Alright, next up here is a really good comic that came out for IDW. This is one of 4. This is a beautiful comic, guys. I almost missed this. I just saw it, and I thought, this is interesting. There's a couple different covers. Opened up one, and I looked inside, and I was like, wow, this is beautiful artwork. This is definitely not your traditional comic book. It's a single comic, I believe 4 parts, 4 parts, and it's like a graphic novel. This would be a fantastic, when this is all done, it will be a great graphic novel because it's definitely written in a graphic novel form. The quality of the paper is a much higher quality than anything else being put out that I have looked. It almost feels like a graphic novel when you pick it up. It's very thick, very sheen, and when you open it up, you have these big, beautiful, gorgeous, like paintings type art style. And it's not paneled in the way that you're used to in classic comic books, but if you read plenty of graphic novels, then you'd be used to this type of style. Absolutely beautiful artwork. I'm definitely going to be showing it in my pick of the week. It's not my pick of the week, but it's going to be one of my honorable mentions for sure. A really unique book, a really unique main character. And IDW, I never see IDW trades, so I really wanted to pick this up, not only because of the quality of the work, and also to support IDW because they're a great comic company that should be supported. But I didn't want to miss it. I wasn't sure if I would find this in graphic novel form. So this is definitely a story I wanted to be on board for and I wanted to experience. And I recommend, now this came out before I left, but I do recommend if you find this, to pick it up, buy it, support it. It is a great comic, and I'm really interested to seeing how this is going to evolve. Next up here is another independent, and this one is Key of Z. You know, I've really been in a zombie mood lately, and especially with October stuff. I've been watching The Walking Dead, and I'm picking The Walking Dead up in graphic form, the really big one, you know, because I haven't read too much of it. Thought that'd be a great way to, you know, to get caught up, is buy that big, huge graphic novel they have out. And this just started, and it's a limited run, 1 of 4. So I picked it up to try it. I did like the art. I think the art's pretty cool. I don't know where this, if this is a comic I want to continue with. I think I might pick it up on trade. Maybe I'll pick up another issue to see where it's going. It's definitely not The Walking Dead here, guys. But it is a cool zombie film. A zombie comic. It definitely has that action film type feel. I wasn't sure about the pacing, and after reading Walking Dead, which is such a great comic, it just didn't feel like it was quite at that level. But if you want to read a good action-oriented comic with zombies and apocalypse type situation, and maybe you're not reading The Walking Dead, or you just want more, this might be a nice one to pick up. It is only 4. It's a limited run, so you're only, committing to 4 comics, which is nice, which is why I might continue to pick it up. But I thought it was a solid start. I really wanted it to be more. But it is a solid, good zombie comic. And last here is number 5 of 6 of a really good ongoing series by Image, and this is Samurai's Blood. At this point, the story is starting to really show where it's going to be trying to end. Some big things have happened. I'm not going to say them. It will spoil the story. But I will say this. This is a really well-written comic. It's definitely a comic book, guys, so this is not a graphic novel or anything. It doesn't have that feel like the other one I showed you. But it's a really good, fun, samurai-type action comic. And I definitely recommend this on trade to people that are interested in a samurai-type story. Now, I thought it started out really strong, and then it got kind of interesting in the middle, and now it's starting to get like it was in the very beginning. Some people picked up issue number 2 and didn't really like it. Well, issue number 2 is like probably the weakest of all 5. You really have to read it from the beginning to really feel the characters and where they're coming from and stuff. And I would definitely recommend picking this up on trade. There's only one more comic to go, but I feel very confident in saying that. And with that, those are my Marvel and independent comics for the last 3 weeks. And I'm really glad to be back, and I hope you guys are enjoying these. Please let me know what you think, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.